Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Modern cars with a manual transmission are necessarily equipped with a clutch basket. This unit is controlled by the driver himself thanks to the pedal built into the cabin. In cars with automatic transmission, the control is carried out virtually without human participation in an autonomous mode. Purpose of the clutch basket. The purpose of installation of the clutch basket is the possibility of realization/non-existence of sending torque from the power plant further through the transmission. Since this unit looks like a disc-shaped structure and is located between the gearbox and the powertrain, it can easily be found in the underhood. Important. The clutch is a mechanism, the principle of operation of which is based on the friction force, due to which the power transmission is carried on to the transmission, and also damp torsional vibrations. Not everyone knows how much the clutch basket weighs. The indicator depends on the brand of the car, the transmitted force. In domestic passenger cars, the mass of the node is about 5 kilograms. For trucks, the parameter reaches 20 kilograms. When repairing the friction unit, mechanics can rivet excessively thick pads. This minimizes the working gap and can create a figure 8, because of which there will be a grinding near the gearbox. In this case, it becomes clear why mechanics have to put washers in the diameter of the updated clutch basket. Thus it is possible to get rid of such a shortcoming. The device and principle of operation of the clutch basket. The principle of operation, as well as the device of the basket, is quite clear. In the complete set, the classic version of the friction unit has the following elements: metal casing, diaphragm spring, pressure sliding disc. Since the node works in close conjunction with other systems, it is structurally located between the flywheel and the release bearing. In the first case, bolts are used to attach the casing. On the second side, a return spring is used to interact with the bearing. A pressure plate is used as a coupler between the flywheel and the driven disc. When the clutch is disengaged, the pressure plate presses on the driven disc in contact with the flywheel. The clutch is engaged when the pressure from the pressure plate is relieved. At the same time, the slave disc starts to rotate independently of the flywheel. There is a direct contact of the clutch basket housing with the pressure plate due to tangential springs of the plate configuration. When the driver disengages and depresses the pedal, the springs return everything to its original position. The connection between the disc and the flywheel is made by the diaphragm spring. The diaphragm spring generates the necessary force to ensure continuous torque transmission. Visually, the diaphragm element resembles pedals and rests on a casing inside which it is secured by support rings and bolts. A bearing is used to pressurize the tips of the pedals from the outside. In this way, the spring located in the casing does not exert pressure on the pressure plate. Read also, what should be the frequency of changing the oil in the gearbox? Types of clutch baskets. Designers offer several variants of baskets, differing in functionality. In modern autos, the types of clutches are found: friction, electromagnetic, hydraulic. The baskets used in this case are of the extractor and pressure type. The second variant is the most popular. The specifics of such a variety is in the displacement of the lobes to the side where the flywheel is located. A different principle of operation is endowed with extraction baskets. In this case, there is a displacement of the lobes in the opposite direction from the flywheel. The relevance of using such a design is in the case when it is necessary to save space under the hood, since the final model turns out to be thinner. Special baskets are less common in practice. They are used as an alternative to standard units. The main difference between most of these models is a significant increase in the downforce provided by the diaphragm. Important. Achieve a greater downforce of the pedals can be achieved through the introduction of high-strength materials and a special geometric shape. Non-stock springs are usually equipped with tuned cars, in which an increase in power characteristics was carried out. Otherwise, without replacement, standard nodes can quickly fail, creating emergency situations on the road. Causes of clutch failure. The driver can detect friction failure without disassembly by indirect symptoms. It is necessary to closely monitor the emerging signs of malfunction of the clutch basket. One of the popular factors is the inclusion with slippage. This is a consequence of wear and tear of the surfaces or oiling of the working area. Also, the culprit of troubles turns out to be a broken spring or a small free travel of the pedal. To eliminate such troubles, it is necessary to replace the driven disc, and in some cases it is possible to do without scoring. It is not worth delaying the repair, because from significant overheating of the steel-driven disc can deform. In parallel, pressure plates with a cast iron flywheel will crack. The aroma of friction discs that wear out quickly in such a situation can penetrate even into the cabin. Another sign of failure is incomplete engagement of the clutch. This happens for the following reasons: a consequence of excessive free travel, deformation of the spring, bending of the driven disc. Consequences of incorrect installation of the pressure plate. This variant occurs after mechanical deformation of the release levers. Sometimes the culprit is a seized bearing that does not move with the clutch. Along the splines, thickened or condensed grease blocks the freedom of movement of the driven disc. The problem of free movement can only be solved by releasing accumulated air bubbles from the hydraulic system. Adjustment of pedal travel or replacement of worn discs will also be required. The problem can be heard by the characteristic sound of incomplete disengagement, crunching of gears, which contributes to the rapid wear of the gearbox. Frequent malfunctions include occasional jerks when depressing the pedal. This happens even with a smooth descent of the foot. Most often this is a sign of crumbling linings. Also, do not exclude the following types of breakdowns: deformation of the driven disc, friction washers wearing out, shipping damping springs. Read also why you need a speed limiter in cars and how it works. Jerks can provoke blocking the movement of the idler disc on the splines of the output shaft from the gearbox. Less often, this sign occurs due to the sprouting of the release bearing or tight movement of the pressure clutch. The hydraulic drive can cause problems. The driver owes the occurrence of slackness when pressing the pedal to air infiltration into the actuator, which leads to incomplete switching off, insufficient disconnection of discs. It is required to rid the system of air plugs and refill a sufficient amount of working fluid. If in mechanisms endowed with a cable drive, there is no engagement of the clutch at all, this is an indirect sign of a cable break. When the driver's pedal does not return to the original position, it is worth looking for a new return spring. Operational issues. Most of the trouble is caused by lobes deformed during intensive use. They lose their elasticity and resilience after a period of use. Loss of spring characteristics results in incomplete engagement of the clutch and complicated transition between gears. A worn basket manifests its properties in different ways. For example, the release bearing fails, which in most cases can be replaced by buying a new one. Checking the clutch and signs of malfunction. To identify signs of malfunction of the clutch basket, it is necessary to conduct a thorough inspection of the assembly. In most cases, the process is in demand for manual transmissions, and for automatic transmissions such a technique is irrelevant. Determine the signs of wear in the operating clutch basket will be possible after complete disassembly and careful inspection. You will have to remove the clutch disc and carefully examine the friction pads, as well as assess the performance of other parts. Only after this is made a further conclusion about the fate of the basket. In the second case, we carry out the following diagnostic measures. Before checking the basket, put the car on a level ground. Start the engine. Lift the handle of a serviceable handbrake. Engage one of the higher gears, for example, third or fourth. Slow down the clutch pedal, simultaneously accelerating. If the assembly is serviceable and the parking brake is in good condition, the engine will definitely stall. Otherwise, the motor will remain running with a slipping clutch. The discs will slip. The cause of this behavior is fluid on the frictions or abrasion of the discs. Diagnosis can also be carried out by ear, when you will hear the gears grinding when the clutch is depressed and gears are shifted. These sounds are clearly audible when the engine is running. It is necessary to carefully operate the clutch so that its premature wear does not occur. It is important to monitor the condition of the node and monitor indirect negative factors that arise after prolonged intensive use. In conclusion, understanding the clutch basket and its function is essential for anyone interested in the mechanics of vehicles. The clutch basket plays a crucial role in the transmission system, allowing for smooth engagement and disengagement of the engine's power. By housing the clutch plates and facilitating their movement, it ensures that your vehicle operates efficiently and effectively. Whether you're a seasoned mechanic or a curious enthusiast, knowing how the clutch basket works can enhance your appreciation for automotive engineering. Thank you for watching, and be sure to explore more about vehicle components in our upcoming videos.